Hi, this is Scott with Android Guys. I'm here with Luke.
Hello.
Luke, we're going to talk about Republic Wireless today.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about their phone selection.
Okay.
And you and I are going to pick some phones for the listener.
Yeah. So we go through and we pick different devices based on kind of these generic needs. And we put people in categories. And kind of what we come up with is an entry level, a mid-range, a flagship. And then sometimes there's like an other category, whether that's like stylized phones or productivity or
folding technology.
Yeah, something like that. And these aren't to say that these are the best phones at the carrier or the phones you must have. But if you're a person that's like, hey, I don't really do much with my phone. I just want to call and text. I want something that's going to work well. I want to be able to take pictures sometimes. We would say, okay, that sounds like a pretty entry-level user.
Right. So
here's your entry-level device that we recommend starting here and then go from there.
Yeah.
If you say, hey, I like that kind of stuff, but I do browse the internet a little bit more and I do want to see watch some Netflix on my commute or something like that. I do want video capabilities, a little bit better video. We might say, okay, that's more mid-range. You want a better device that has maybe some more features, but I'm still trying to save money. I don't want to break the bank. And then the flagship is I want the best of the best.
Right.
Give me the best phone that I can get at Republic Wireless. And that's usually where the flagship ends up. And again, we're Android guys, so these are Android phones.
Yeah.
A lot of these carriers do offer iOS devices, but we don't really care about that. And then for the other category, like I said, it's sometimes it's folding technology, productivity, maybe
gaming phones.
Yeah, something like that.
Different
So
niche or specialized needs.
Right. So for Republic, if we were gonna say, you say, hey, what's the best phone I can get at Republic? We'll say, well, what do you do on your phone? And then we'll start. And let's say we end up deciding you don't really need much entry-level phone. What's our entry-level device?
Luke, if you have listened to a few of these podcasts,
I have listened to all of them.
You've heard all of these selections.
I have.
And that's what's nice about these. The phones that we're talking about aren't unique to any particular carrier.
Right.
They're from reputable brands. These are very popular phones. And these are phones that we're glad to see some of these carriers offer because it kind of makes our job easier.
It does.
Because when we're looking for these phones, we start to consider, entry level. Okay, so let's think as a consumer, what does that mean? Maybe they're buying based off of hardware needs. Maybe they're buying based off of price point.
Sure.
So we start to look at that and factor in, okay, what's the window of what we're going to kind of play with on how high will we go to consider that an entry-level phone?
Sure.
And then we'll look at, how recent was this phone announced or put out? What version of Android does it run?
Sure.
So I say all that to tell you that we've selected the Samsung Galaxy A13 as the entry-level selection.
Yep.
It's a 5G phone.
Yep.
And it's going to run about $250. This is a phone that we've picked for plenty of carriers as their best entry-level phone.
Yeah.
It's got a nice big screen. It's got a 6.5-inch display. It runs Android 11, so that might be, and this isn't to say that it's an older phone. It kind of is running an older version of Android. But a lot of people aren't going to know the difference between what's in Android 11 and 12.
Right.
Or even 13 that's coming. Like, if you have to ask, you probably don't know or care.
Right. If you have to ask or if you notice, chances are you don't need this device.
Yeah. So you're also going to get a nice sized battery. This has a 5,000 milliamp hour battery. It's got a fast charging capability, 15 watt. When you see what some of the flagship phones are doing, it's not nearly as fast, but it is considered fast charge.
Sure.
When you compare that to phones of yesterday.
Yeah.
If you've had a phone that you've been sitting on for a couple of years, this is going to be faster for charging. Decent amount of memory, decent amount of storage. If you need more storage, this phone has a micro SD expansion card slot.
Yep.
So you can, if you find like, oh, I'm taking a lot more photos than I thought I was going to, or I'm playing more games or doing more with my phone, you can put in a micro SD card, which is not found on too many phones today.
Right.
This has a MediaTek octa-core processor. It's got multiple cameras on the back, 50 megapixel for the main. It's got a macro camera. And it's also got a depth camera, so it's going to take nice portrait shots. And it's going to have a headphone jack.
Nice.
So that's something that for some people is a deal breaker, or make or break kind of thing. That's something that I wish more phones had.
Yeah.
So this has a nice, well-rounded package for about $250.
Not bad at all.
No, it's not.
And yeah, there's they're in our, most of the time when we're looking at different carriers and we're looking at these best phones, there are a couple devices that hit that range of an entry-level device or a mid-level device or a flagship device. And usually if you have been listening to these over these different carrier best phones, a lot of times these certain phones are the best of all of those choices.
Yeah.
It might not be, it's sometimes it can be like, why is it always the Samsung A13? Well,
there's a reason.
For this amount of money, you're getting the best value at this point. So
that's not to discredit another phone that might be $15 less or $50 less, or to say that, a particular brand is not worth looking at.
No.
This is just one of those, if they offer this, start with that.
Yeah.
It kind of makes the choice for us when we pick these out, or if somebody's asking us, hey, I'm thinking about getting a new phone, carrier agnostic, I don't care. I'm thinking about a new phone, buying it outright or buying it direct from the manufacturer. What's a good phone for my mom? She's just looking for an entry level. Well, get the A13 or consider this. And so this just happens to be available at Republic Wireless.
Right.
And again, it makes things easier for us because this is, it's not just us saying this.
Right.
This is, industry-wide, a very highly regarded phone.
Yeah, and there's a reason all of these different carriers are choosing to offer that device.
Yep.
So yeah, if we move then into the next step up, which is the person that maybe wants a little bit more out of their phone, wants maybe some more camera options or better camera options, maybe a little bit faster processor if you're doing some games or something like that, or just a little bit more of a device.
Yeah, let's just punch things up. Kind of across the board.
So for the mid range, what did we choose?
We did the Galaxy A53. Again, a very common pick for the mid range at a lot of these carriers.
Yep.
And for good reason. This also has a 6.5-inch display. It dials things up on the camera. Now you're at 64 megapixel. You've got an ultra wide camera at 12 megapixels. The 5,000 milliamp battery is now a 25 watt fast charge. Yeah. So that's a notable difference.
Yep.
If you're plugging in for 10, 15 minutes at a time, maybe on a commute on the way to work or on the way home after a day of not being able to plug in, you're going to get a lot more out of that charge.
Yep.
That jumping from 15 to 25 watt. Storage, you got to jump that up to 128 gigabytes. Again, you do get the 1 terabyte micro SD expansion card slot. You also have 6 gigabytes of memory instead of 4. So you're kind of just turning everything up a little bit.
Yeah.
Android 12. So you got a more current version of Android. And this one is also one of the phones that Samsung has recently come out to kind of say, hey, we're going to support this with multiple years of Android updates and software patches. It's a hell of a package for the price. And here at Republic Wireless, you're getting about $450. So that's about the same price you're going to find elsewhere. And you're going to find this phone available at a lot of carriers. And you can find it at retail stores if you're looking to buy it directly. But for the mid-range user, the kind of, crossroads of value that keep you, from having to replace this thing in a year, 2 years, this is a good everyman phone.
Yeah, definitely. So then if that's our mid-range, if we go up to, what, I want something that's going to be the most current technology. If I'm going to get a phone now, I want it to last me, the 2 years or whatever I'm going to do for a contract, or I want it to last a while. I don't want to have to think about getting a new phone. I want to be able to do everything that a phone can do right now. What's the best phone I can get? What's the most powerful phone I can get at Republic Wireless?
So this is our Samsung is batting 3 for 3 so far.
Sure are.
We're going to pick them. This is the Samsung Galaxy S22.
Yes.
Now, the S22 is available in multiple variants. Here, we're selecting the S22, the standard one.
Yeah.
I don't know that they offer the Ultra or the Plus version.
Right.
But for a lot of people, that's, I don't want to say overkill, but that's kind of more specialized needs that says, okay, I need to get this. I want that stylus capability, or I'm willing to spend for this feature. But at Republic Wireless, at the high end, this is a great phone. This has got an even more robust processor. This has more memory at 8 gigabytes. You've got storage at 128 or 256. Camera, you're getting, again, you're going to dial that up a little bit. You've got a 50 megapixel wide, 12 megapixel ultra wide. The battery is a smaller battery, but it does give you even faster charging.
Yep.
It's also wireless charging, and it is also wireless power sharing, which means if you've got a pair of earbuds that have a wireless charging capability, you can charge that case up off the back of your phone.
Yeah.
So you can share that charging.
You can charge somebody else's phone off the back of that phone.
You can share that charge with somebody else. Yeah, it's a 6.1 inch display, fingerprint reader in the display, Android 12.
Yep.
And, this is kind of the, it's a flagship. If you have if you're setting sail with a line of ships, this is the flagship one that you're going to put out there, because it just kind of gives you a great all-in-one, all-around value. So this one is about $800.
Yeah.
And then there are some options depending on when you order it from them or purchase it from them. They do have a special deal. If you call and sign up as a new customer, you can get one specifically, particular model, for $400.
Okay.
So it's an awful lot of phone.
Yeah.
For a lot of people, it is, it probably the kind of phone that says, this is going to be yours for a couple of years before you have to really think about getting a new phone.
Right. And like we mentioned before, they have multiple other devices. And if none of these sound right for you, they have plenty of other ones. But one category that we see pop up from time to time is that person that does do a little bit more productivity style stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe you're checking spreadsheets or editing spreadsheets on the go, or marking up some documents, or maybe you need to mark up some photos if you're doing some advertising kind of stuff. They actually have a device that we would recommend for a little bit more of a productivity minded individual.
Yeah.
That is the
Motorola Moto G stylus.
Yeah.
5G phone. This guy is only about $300.
Nice.
And it is a nice mix of mid-range phone with the capability of a stylus.
Yes.
That is included with the phone. This is a 5,000 milliamp battery, so we get back to the big capacity battery. You've got Android 11. You've got a decent amount of memory and storage. Again, micro SD expansion card. Again, headphone jack. Big screen, 6.8 inches.
Yeah. And
that's going to look great. So if you're marking up documents, taking notes, do a lot of signatures and things with your phone. Good camera package. It's got 48 megapixel on the back with a wide lens. And there's a depth sensor, macro lens, rear fingerprint sensor.
Nice.
It's a 5G phone. It's a nice, good mix of phone. And this would be a pick if were the A53 not available here. This I could see sliding right into that mid-range experience.
I think the thing that kind of dips it more into the specialized is obviously the stylus.
Yeah.
And it's not quite mid-range because it's still Android 11.
Yeah, and it's 4 gigabytes of RAM, which, if you're using your phone for productivity, you're probably not using your phone for gaming. Like,
right.
You're kind of, most phone users are one type.
Sure.
There's exceptions that says, for work, I do all these things, but I love to play hard too.
Right.
And I need a phone that does, but so for $300, this is a heck of a lot of phone.
Yep.
Think about the entry level phone. We had the A13. It was $250.
Right.
So for about $50 more, you're getting around the same type of phone hardware wise with the built-in stylus.
Right.
So that's the Motorola Moto G stylus.
Yeah. So that'll give you kind of some starting points for Republic Wireless if you're thinking about switching over to them. Like we said, there's a lot of other options on the website, and then there's always the option to bring your own device, and they have ways to check to see if your device is compatible with them on their website.
Yep.
But that's our best phones as of summer 2022 for Republic Wireless.
That's right. Thanks for listening. All right, that's going to do it for this episode of the podcast.
Thanks for listening.
We appreciate it. If you guys have any questions, feedback, concerns, comments, anything, shoot us an email at podcast@AndroidGuys.com. We'd love to hear from you one way or the other. Luke, if someone wants to get a hold of you, how do they do that?
I am on Instagram and Twitter at Luke Gaul, Gaul.
And I'm on Instagram at Scott Webster and Twitter as SWebster77. Until next time, thanks for listening.
See ya.